Hello, my bookworms. So another book that I recently finished was The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. And here is the description on the back of the book. Out on the Yorkshire moors lives a secret line of people for whom books are food and who retain all of a book's contents after eating it. To them, spy novels are a peppery snack. Romance novels are sweet and delicious. Eating a map can help them remember destinations, and children, when they misbehave, are forced to eat dry and musty pages from dictionaries. Devon is part of the family, an old reclusive clan of book eaters. Her brothers grow up feasting on stories of valor and adventure, and Devon, like all other book eater women, is raised on a carefully curated diet of fairy tales and cautionary stories. But real life doesn't always come with happy endings, as Devon learns when her son is born with a rare and darker kind of hunger, not for books, but for human minds. Oh my god, that book just sounds so perfect for us bookworms. We love devouring books, and now we can read a book about a line of people that actually devour books in order to, get food. How perfect is that?
So in the book eater society, they're a dying breed, and and women aren't born very often, so they have to be very careful with inbreeding. And then if you are a girl, you're going to be married off at least 3 times and give birth 3 times to 3 different families. And after 3 years with that child, you will be ripped away and given or sold off to another family to provide an heir for them. And then after your breeding is done, you go back to your family house and help that heir to your family produce children and raise their children to just continue the cycle. Very patriarchal. So Devon was raised to be a little princess, and very limited knowledge, because you don't want your breeding stock to have too much knowledge because they'll revolt. Knowledge is not good, so you limit their knowledge. And she grows up and she gets married off to the first family, and she has a girl, and she realizes that her life is not what she wants for this girl. She wants to be there for this girl and help raise her. She loves her with all of her heart, and then she kind of realizes that the way that she was raised was all a lie, that her mother probably did love her very much, didn't want to abandon her like she was led to believe all of her life. She was then forced to leave her child. Very sweet story of her first child and the bond that the two of them had. Absolutely heartbreaking. She then gets sold off to a second family. This husband was not as nice and didn't lie to her like the first one did. He was kind of cruel. But they end up having a boy. And this boy is born as a dragon. So where book eaters consume books and gain the knowledge and memories and lives of the books that they eat, these dragons have really long tongues, and they consume minds and memories and personalities and vices. Their long tongues go into ears, including book eaters' ears, and absorb that person, that they eat that person, and it changes their personality, and they gain all the knowledge and memories from that person that they just consumed. So those are undesirable, and those dragons then are sent off to a military type school and treated like animals and assassins and live horrible, cruel lives. So Devon, realizing that her child is going to be treated like this, after she had such a hard time, especially after she had such a hard time letting go of her first child, she is not to be cowed. So even though she had made a promise that she was going to save her firstborn child, she knows that her firstborn child has until she's at least 18 before things go bad, whereas her secondborn child, things are going to go bad immediately if she does not do everything to protect that child now. The child will be sent at the age of 3 to that horrible school to be militarized. So she ends up taking the child and running and going to the human world, and to try to find another branch of the book eater family that has developed a cure for dragons. So they take this pill, and then they no longer crave minds. They can take the pill and eat books like regular book eaters. So it's the story of her trying to get over the guilt over her daughter, trying to get over her guilt of having her son consuming other lives, and the guilt that when he looks at her, he doesn't see a mother anymore, because in many ways he has lived more lives than she has. One of the things that made me laugh out loud was that he consumed a alcoholic, and so she had to leave him alone in a motel room for a little bit, and And he's like, yeah, go do that. And he's eyeing up the minibar in the hotel room. And she's like, do not drink the scotch. If you open that minibar at all, I'm taking away your Game Boy. And he's like, all right, fine. And it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And so it just made me laugh that this 5-year-old child is, one, mature enough to be left alone in a hotel room, because he's a 5-year-old child, but he has a mind of like a 50-year-old man. And then he's an alcoholic, even though he's never had a drop of alcohol. And then it's also really sad because he was like, I've had 3 heart surgeries. You know, I have memories of 3 heart surgeries. I have memories of 15 marriages and children. And I've lived so many lives, and I'm so tired of it. And, you know, it's really depressing him. And so it's a fantastic story. And then in the audiobook, they also did an interview between the author and the narrator. And the inspiration for this book was because the author had read a social media post about how the vampire genre was done. You know, the vampires have been told every which way that they could not offer anything new. And she was like, I don't agree with that. And so she decided to write a different kind of vampire story, which the dragon then would be the vampire, because he consumes lives. They don't necessarily die. They are just basically catatonic and blank, and so then they end up dropping them off at like homeless shelters and stuff, but they're not able to function. They're blank slates. So very, very good. And then the narrator in the after interview was saying how, you know, when she was reading this book, because it does time jump between a very young Devin and a young adult Devin, and then an older Devin dealing with depression and guilt and you know, just trying to survive, how she tried to make sure she incorporated that in her voice acting. You know, so when she was young Devin, she had a little bit of a more chipper, bouncier tone and talked a little bit faster. And then when she was 18, she still tried to keep like this hopeful, full of life tone to her voice. And then when she was, you know, surviving in the human world and fighting for survival and for her son, and dealing with all this guilt and depression, that it weighed her down. And she did an excellent job. I do like the anti-patriarch books, and this is one of them. I don't ever want my bonus daughters to think, oh, I can't do that because I'm a girl. And that's why I enjoy these books, is because they make me look at things differently and make me realize the ways that I am pushing that concept without even realizing that I'm pushing that concept. And I think that those are important stories for us to know then, because we don't even know that we're doing it. So it's important to point them out so we can do better. Anyway, it's a great book. Makes you think. So until next time, I want you to know that you are enough. And damn the man, and go get lost in some pages.